Yo, what's up with y'all, man? I hope you're doing good. If you're new and you're a fan of the NBA, subscribe to this channel. So let's get straight into it.
It's like it's Minute Maid, hijack 4, renegade, 24, number 8, Kobe shit fade away, ballin' since 11th grade, still in school, let them hate.
Right before we get into things, let me introduce you to the sponsor of this video, Game Day Jerseys. They ain't new around here, bro. If you don't know them though, aka the place where I do all of my jersey shopping. Present day jerseys and throwbacks, whatever you want, they have. There's over hundreds of legit reviews from other customers. I got great news for you guys though. Just now they released some NBA shorts and also NBA jerseys with social justice messages behind them. You can get that or really any custom jersey that you want for just $5 extra. You can set your orders through IG or Twitter. And by the way, if you go ahead and use code Mojo99, bro, I got you with $5 off. All jerseys start at $45. I got you. You can set your orders through the Twitter or IG DMs. This is how I get all my replica jerseys on my wall, and this is how you probably should too if you're interested. The summer of 2018 was a memorable one. There were so many things happening at once that certain scenarios and situations became completely forgettable. And for a very good reason too. The summer of 2018 was a summer of broken barriers. The NBA was entering its next phase. LeBron James made the move from a crusty Cleveland Cavaliers team to now the lavish Los Angeles Lakers. In the midst of all this happening, two of the league's most talented wings in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard were literally rumored all year long to be traveling to some other team. To refresh your mind, this is how it basically went down. Part of the catch that came with Paul George in a trade package was uncertainty. He was on a one-year deal, and after that 2017-18 season was over, if he wanted to, he can walk off scot-free onto the next venture in his life. And at that point in time, the PG and LeBron rumors were flying at a rapid rate. But before I continue to get into my bag, quick side note, this isn't the first time that PG and LeBron were rumored to, potentially team up. But we will save that for an entirely new video. Any of you other NBA YouTubers watching this, I will slap you if you steal my idea. I'm just kidding. So with all this craziness looming in the air, it finally got put to rest once PG shockingly re-signed with the OKC Thunder once again. All those rumors to PG to this and that team were put in a coffin, and all the attention then turned to the San Antonio Spurs. Because at the time they attained the NBA's biggest X factor, Kawhi Leonard. All eyes were on the Spurs and what in the world they wanted to do with that man right there. Did they want to trade him to the East so they didn't have to deal with him and all the hoopla that he brought with him, or what do you know, check that video out right there. I'm sorry, I just coughed, but I don't got no diseases, I'm good. Or go ahead and trade him to the LA Lakers, who have one of the most intriguing trade packages out there in general, point blank period, for them to attain. Fast forwarding 2 years later, we all know what happened, and we really all know what should have been done, and that all that chaos led us to this point today. The Clippers have been championship favorites all year long, with one of the deepest and star-studded rosters out there. It seems like all the stars aligned perfectly for them to go ahead and grab their first ever NBA championship. But get this, sounds crazy, right? But what if I told you that they could have grabbed not 1, 2, 3, LeBron, help me out,
not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7,
maybe 8 champions? Okay, I'm just kidding, I'm not that crazy, but they could have probably won many more if they did this simple trade right here. Going into the 2018 NBA draft, the Los Angeles Clippers walked in with a wide range of options. The team was on the uprise. They traded their franchise player months prior and just was on the cusp of making the playoffs. With the roster of Lou Will, Pat Bev, Montrezl Harrell, Sam Decker, Tobias Harris, and several other players who really aren't worth mentioning right now. They were clearly head and shoulders, or head to toes, that's how it works, right? Anyways, get to the point. They were one of the better lottery teams. One of the better lottery teams that had multiple picks and valuable assets. Literally, the only thing that this Clippers team was missing was a legit star. A star that they could rely on when things were to get tough. Y'all remember that series back in 2018 between the Warriors and the Clippers when it was a legit scare that the Warriors were gonna, be embarrassed? That right there was peak Lou Williams and Patrick Beverley. With all those assets, those attractive players, I mean, whoa. Not attractive players, but players that you'd want to play with, and also cap space. They could have easily traded up in the 2018 NBA draft and gotten a potential star. Many don't remember this, and I don't expect many to actually remember this because so much happened in this very short amount of time. But the Clippers were also one of the teams that were planning, or at least throwing the idea out of potentially trading way up in the NBA draft. And they had their eyes on this one specific prospect too, and as seen on that very beautiful thumbnail that I created, that prospect was Luka Doncic. The Sacramento Kings, Atlanta Hawks, Memphis Grizzlies, and Dallas Mavericks. Those are the teams that helped pick 2 through 5 in the 2018 draft. If the Clippers truly wanted a toy and fiddled with the idea of them trading up, then they would have made it happen. They had 2 of the last few picks in the lottery, and Tobias Harris and Danilo Gallinari. Now I'm pretty sure that we can all agree that Tobias Harris is not that far away from being an all-star type player. And as of recent, Danilo Gallinari has been one of the most underrated players in the NBA. They had so many attractive trade pieces that they could pick and choose from and bundle up in order to get what they truly want. A trade package though that seems irresistible for the buyer but dangerous for the seller, aka the Clippers. Now of course all these assets in 2020 do not exist for the Clippers no more. This is no longer possible. SGA is currently on the OKC Thunder excelling, and Jerome Robertson is getting his cardio in with the rest of the Washington Wizards team in the Orlando bubble. I don't know how he's doing, but I think he's a good player. Now trust me, I do understand. None of y'all have to pause this video and type down with your little greasy fingers about how the Clippers are still lit. Bro, I know that they're lit. If I had to bet my soul on it, I'm saying that the Los Angeles Clippers are winning the NBA championship. I'm sorry, it's my soul. I'm a LeBron fan, I know, but hey, I gotta put myself first. Out of the Atlanta Hawks, Kings, Grizzlies, and Mavs, the most likely team out of them all who would have been down to make a trade would be the Sacramento Kings. Because for one, that is the worst ranked organization out of them all, and secondly, it makes the most sense. So they originally took a 4 in Marvin Bagley. Tobias Harris was better than him, and he still is up till this day. And that 1 or maybe 2 lottery picks, if the Clippers wanted to give that up to the Sacramento Kings, could have easily been a Michael Porter Jr. or maybe even a Miles Bridges. And honestly, that trade works out far better for them than what they already have right now. The Kings could have potentially been running a lineup of Fox, Bojan, MPJ, and Bridges, and whatever 5 they feel like starting at the moment. That right there, that team right there, that mixture of talent is way better than what they have today. But screw the Sacramento Kings. The Kings aren't the main focus right now. What is the main focus though is that man Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, already in his 2nd year in the league, has proven himself to be a top 10 player. And believe it or not, if the Clippers really wanted him, they could have had him. But they didn't want to risk it and settled on drafting SGA and J-Rob. These rumors that were in the air were actually talked about and discussed. There was just no execution. And to be honest, we should all be happy that that wasn't the case. Because right now, the league is the most balanced it's ever been in recent history. But if the Clippers were to pull this power move, then that wouldn't be the case. Luka would have been the first domino to fall. With the addition of him, LA becomes so much more attractive than they already were. This current season, we could have been forced to watch a team led by Luka, PG, and Kawhi literally run the league while maintaining pretty good depth. Now you're probably wondering, how could all this be possible? Well, I'm about to run you through all the potential complications that could have been faced. You see, the main reason why OKC was okay with giving up PG and not hell-bent over keeping him was because of all those picks, but also because of SGA, the man that the Clippers offered. He was a great young player, just a great young player though, who played in a really limited role. And over the course of the summer, he was able to define his game and add on to what he was already good at to become greater. You see, the Clippers wouldn't have had that asset though because it wouldn't really exist. This is what makes hypotheticals like this really fun to make and talk about. You gotta really dig and put the puzzle pieces together to get a reasonable answer. And that answer is again to give up even more picks and Danilo Gallinari if he's still there. And maybe, just maybe even Lou Williams. Now that's really risky because as we all know, Lou's not the first or second best player on that Clippers team, but he is for sure undoubtedly the most beloved because of the heart that he poured out on the court, his clutch performances, and also the sacrifices monetary value wise that he's made. It's tough, but this league and all the great teams are built and created off of tough decisions like this one right here. If that Clippers front office was able to give up 1 first-round pick instead of 2 in the Luka Doncic exchange that they could have made happen, then we're talking. Because they would have been able to go ahead and draft Shea still, or maybe even Michael Porter Jr. instead of having to dig deep into their pockets for another first rounder. There were loopholes to this to make this vision very possible. That scenario would have helped OKC a lot because then they would have been completely able to avoid trading away Luka Doncic or even bringing him up into discussion. But hey, let me pipe down just a little bit. Let's say that the Clippers aren't able to trade for Paul George and they can't create this big 3. Bro, who cares? Luka Doncic right now is better than Paul George. And I'm sure that all of us can agree that Luka and Kawhi would be a greater duo than Kawhi and PG, since Luka Doncic is indeed the better player. The main picture that I've been trying to paint for you guys is the Luka Doncic and Kawhi Leonard, or maybe a Paul George trio/duo that could have been created. We dodged a bullet. I'm so happy we did it, and you honestly should be too, because That would have been really unfair. As we all know, Luka's a great ball handler, shot creator, and he just excels just about on everything offensively. And a guard like him is literally what the Clippers could use right now. What one of these entities lacked, another excels in, and vice versa. As y'all know, Kawhi and PG are great offensively, but they aren't elite ball handlers, or at least Kawhi is. Luka Doncic fits perfectly into this role. Now, when just about every single big three formed in history, someone takes a step back in production. And in this scenario, many would think that Luka Doncic would be the one taking the backseat, but that's far from the truth. Paul George would have been the one doing that. And Kawhi and Luka would have been the frontline two best players talked about whenever you mention the Clippers. That would be unfair. That almost destroyed the balance in the NBA. That right there almost happened. This is the end of the video though, man. I really do appreciate you for coming over here on my channel and seeing what I have to talk about today. As usual, bro, I ain't gonna lie, I messaged you for that and you hella dope for that too. Now, if you want to be even doper in my eyes, I need you to do one of these few things. First off, I need you to like this video. Secondly, I need you to comment under this video. And lastly, go ahead and at least share this with one of your friends, bro. You gotta help at least one homie out and help them venture this whole new vibe that I'm giving y'all that nobody else can give y'all. So do all that, and also hit up Game Day Jerseys and get you a replica jersey just like myself. And lastly, I'm gonna need you to make sure that you make your day great. And until then, I'll get right with you.
No way, remember back when I couldn't get a play, no home, I ain't have a place to stay, I got to work, made it free to wait, told my girl